President Trump, Secretary Tillerson meeting with the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. The media is certainly making note of the timing of all of this. This was scheduled way in advance of this. Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton on that meeting. Do you find the timing curious? I know this was telegraphed, but what do you think?
Well, the left suggested that Comey should have been fired a long time ago, but he shouldn't be fired now and never by Donald Trump. That doesn't make any sense. It would have been in Trump's political interest to leave Comey in place because he was compromised, he was ineffective, he was bungling, he didn't seem to know what he was doing, he didn't have trust from anyone. But he did the courageous and brave thing by upholding the accountability necessary from our public officials, namely the FBI director, who was acting as if he was both the judge and jury and prosecutor in the criminal cases he was overseeing, including Hillary Clinton. I think he was political in the sense he helped Hillary Clinton, but in doing so, he egregiously violated her rights by attacking her from the podium last July. I mean, you may recall, I was on the show with you, Neil, shortly after that press conference, excoriating him and defending Hillary Clinton. Now, I want to see Hillary Clinton prosecuted and potentially go to jail. But Comey really wanted to have it both ways. He saw himself as a law unto himself, and he is just an FBI director.
Do you think
he's a bureaucrat and he needs to be held accountable? Trump did the right, brave, and courageous thing.
Should the president have done this earlier? Because, I mean, the fact is, you're quite right. I mean, it got to the point where Republicans and Democrats didn't like Comey, and when he was testifying on Capitol Hill, I mean, you got a front row seat to that contempt they had for him. But that the time for the president to have done this was in the beginning, right in the beginning. And now knowing that there is this Russian investigation going on and these separate reports, some were getting that Comey had been asking for additional funds to help with that investigation. Maybe that was the trigger point, or at least that's what the conspiracy theorists are going to say, and that just made the White House timing all the more suspect.
Well, there was a Russia investigation when he came in, too. So he was going to be attacked no matter what he did. And my guess is his gut was to fire him immediately. But he was counseled by establishment Republicans and establishment Washington, don't make waves here. And he should trust his gut. And, thankfully, he finally got an appointee at the Justice Department after months of delay by the Democrats in the Senate, who finally looked at what Comey had done, did an analysis, and it became clear in a really dramatic way that he couldn't be there anymore, especially giving his testimony last week where he reaffirmed virtually all of his misconduct, misstating the law, playing politics, and we don't want politics as head of the FBI. And, we need to get someone good in there that will at least have the confidence of large swaths of the American people.
Well, it's very clear that Comey didn't see this coming. I mean, he just a couple of days ago was talking about, you're going to have to put up with me for the next 6.5 years. Apparently not.
Well, he thought he had guaranteed himself the job by yelling about the Russia investigation and taking away, as he thought, the option of President Trump to fire him. And Trump was not going to be cowed and intimidated. Good for President Trump, again.
All right, so you don't think this... My biggest thing, as I was raising at the outset of this show, Tom, is at the very least these things take time. Sorting them out takes time. Washington's uncanny ability to not be able to move on multiple issues at the same time is going to push back a Trump agenda, which might be actually the agenda of his enemies.
I disagree with you. I think the legislative agenda is just going to keep on churning.
I hope you're right.
Those things can proceed. The president was hired and paid the big bucks to do this type of work. And if he's going to expend his political capital and have a legacy for the ages, it's these type of actions that he's going to be remembered for, I think, in a positive way.
Which actions?
By taking steps to make sure the head of the FBI director is honest, ethical, and is willing to enforce the law.
My only point is that the distraction delays. That's what I'm saying. I hope not, but it delays.
Well, it's all going to have to be done before 2018. And look, politics can't dictate doing the right thing here.
I'm betting it won't.
Yep.
Would you like to bet with me?
I believe we're going to get tax reform and some type of health care repeal, somehow. And I think it would have been a lot harder, and this is what's atypical about what President Trump did. The tough thing isn't getting tax reform and repealing the Obamacare monstrosity or reforming it or fixing it or whatever. The tough thing is doing things like this, and he deserves credit.
All right. Good seeing you again, my friend.